What's up, board fam? Eric here, and I want to do a quick video just talking about all this drama with Warner Brothers Discovery, Paramount, who's being sold to who, what creative team is getting the chop, who's out the door, who's in the driver's seat, who's going to be in charge of stuff. I just want to talk about this a little bit, only because there seems to be a lot of drama online about what's going to happen with James Gunn. I've seen video after video after video of him being fired the minute they get picked up by another company with absolutely no proof whatsoever, because no deals have really been made. No pen to paper, nothing's happened. But all of these accounts are running with this idea that James Gunn is going to get axed or kicked out without literally any proof whatsoever. And it says here, the boss of Paramount Skydance reportedly wants to keep the creative teams of both it and Warner Brothers intact should it end up buying the gargantuan media company. Now, there's a full story on this. We will talk about this on the Nerdcast tomorrow night. We're going to go into a lot of detail on it, but I want to give my initial reaction to reading this and just the feeling that I've been seeing online about people that so viciously want James Gunn and the DCU to fail, seemingly believing that the DCEU would return. And especially with Netflix, they're saying, oh, Netflix buys it, the DCEU return. That's not true either. So let's unpack all of this. Again, very quick video today. So if Netflix were to purchase just the DC property from Warner Brothers, which is the only way that would work because Netflix is not interested in HBO, they're not interested in any of that other stuff. If they were to buy just the DC portion of Warner Brothers, one of the first things I believe they would do, just based on the logic in all of this, is the comic book side of it would most likely go away. I don't think Netflix has any interest in DC Comics, which would be a completely useless thing for them to invest money into. They wouldn't do that. So we would probably lose the comic books, at least the print version of comic books, as a result of Netflix buying DC. Again, I'm talking about just DC, if they just wanted to buy DC. Also, why would they go back and retroactively try to build contracts with a bunch of actors who have moved on or decided they don't want to be a part of this universe anymore? And this all hinges on the fact that they would have to get Zack Snyder to commit to some sort of deal to make tons of DC content for Netflix, because keep in mind, these would be just going to Netflix. These would not be theatrical releases. More on that in a second. But they have to work out a deal with Zack Snyder and everybody involved with the DCEU to come back and make a universe that was not profitable enough in the first place in theaters for them to keep it around. They would have to convince their team over at Netflix that this is a worthwhile thing for them to invest in. And that's just not going to happen. So what does that mean if they were to buy? If Netflix were to buy DC from under Warner Brothers, we would get a bunch of made-for-TV type shows with DC characters. I don't think Zack Snyder would be involved at all. If anything, they would look for somebody like Greg Berlanti, something more like the Arrowverse on Netflix. That's what it would end up being. Probably a lot of young adult stuff. Most likely no large, big, huge movies like we were getting in the theaters. That would not happen under Netflix. We already know that. Netflix has a ton of IPs, and they're already very skimpy on how they release it and how they put it out. Look at what's going on with Frankenstein right now and Guillermo del Toro. So if that's any indication of Netflix's desire to get into like the theater thing, it's out the door. It's not going to happen. So Warner Brothers selling DC to Netflix would literally be the worst case scenario. And most people with even a third of a brain know that. But the Snyder cult does not. They seem to think that somehow that is going to be the Renaissance era of the DCEU. You guys are fucking stupid. It's just not going to happen. There's just no reality in that. And I think you guys need to come to grips with that. On the flip side of this, though, like out of all the studios left, I've talked about them. There's a handful of them that could possibly want to buy DC out from under Warner Brothers, but it seems like Warner Brothers wants to sell as a package deal. That means everything, all of it included with the TV network, with HBO, all of that. They want to sell all of that, not necessarily Discovery, but definitely all of Warner Brothers is one package deal. So they're going to be looking at those types of offers first. And we're going to be talking about big companies like Paramount, like Sony, like Disney, even though I don't think Disney would do it. That's a company that could do it. Like Apple, like Amazon. These large companies that have enough money to buy out not only the studio's value, but with that debt that comes with it, which is around the 30 or $35 billion worth of debt attached to the studio. So that's what we're going to see. So that is what they're looking at. That is what they're trying to do here. And what this tells me, though, is that they want to keep everything as it is. They want to just buy everything as it is and keep all of the big creative people involved with the projects that they're already involved in. It makes the most sense for them. So this is why I believe if James Gunn, who is in the midst of making multiple properties for Warner Brothers right now as head of this division, would at least stay on to see those properties through. Now, what happens after that is entirely up to whoever decides to buy the company. But in the meantime, it seems like they are very interested in keeping James Gunn around. And why would they not be? Because Superman, regardless of what all these people on the internet want to tell you, was a success in different metrics, not just financially, but critically. The fans seem to really enjoy it. There's a lot of reasons why they would want to keep him around. So I don't see that changing anytime soon. Now, 5, 6, 7 years down the road, maybe, possibly, we can't predict that. But I don't think it would be a situation where Paramount would come in, buy the company, and then immediately fire James Gunn. That just doesn't make any sense. And we're going to dive into even more of this tomorrow night on the Nerdcast. So you definitely want to subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, and turn on notifications so you can join us. It's going to be a really interesting discussion. So we'll see you all then. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below.